Hello and welcome to the Tiny Garden. Thank you for joining me for episode 2 of the Tiny Garden Redesign. Today I'm going to be building a new raised bed, moving the shed and the water butt. The garden is feeling really autumnal at the minute, but there is plenty still growing. My sprouts are bursting at the seams. The kale has put on so much growth since the last harvest, and we even have a few flowers in bloom still. But first we need to head into town to pick up a few supplies for today's project, so let's jump into the car. The shop we're going to go to today is called Woody's. So if you're in Ireland, obviously you'll know it's a massive chain sort of like DIY hardware store, and if you're not from Ireland, it's very similar to B&Q if you're from the UK, and I don't actually have a relevant alternative to what it would be like in Canada or the US because I don't actually know. So I've put a little budget together for this raised bed that we're going to be doing today. So it's going to go alongside the first bed we put on the patio. So I've put a budget together about €150. That's to buy the wood and a little bit of 2x4 to support the actual bed boards itself. So I think I'm going to have a little bit of spare cash in the budget, and I'm actually hoping to get a few bits for a little voluntary sort of like secret Santa, but it's called Secret Santa, and for like just a little like voluntary bit of festivity between like gardeners in Ireland. It was actually set up in the UK originally, but with Brexit and everything, it was too hard to do UK and Ireland together. So we're doing our own one in Ireland. I signed up about 3 weeks ago or something. So I just got an email with the contact details and the Instagram handle of my Secret Santa. So it's a cost of living edition. So I don't have much actually left in my own personal seed collection. So I think you're meant to obviously pull something from your own seed collection, look at the person's Instagram and see what you have that might suit their growing space. But I'm kind of down to the bare minimum of my seeds at the minute. So a great opportunity as well, whilst we're in Woody's, they have a wonderful gardening section to go and see what I can maybe buy. So obviously, cost of living edition, I am going to obviously keep it kind of low, and the whole idea behind that is so people don't feel pressured to obviously send big gifts to people. So it's all anonymous, so the person doesn't know who I am. I've obviously signed up, so hopefully like I might receive something as well, which will be cool. But if I don't, it's like it doesn't bother me. But I'm really looking forward to taking part. So it's all anonymous, and then obviously as Secret Santas are. So I've got to the outdoor sort of decking stuff. There was some stuff inside, but it wasn't treated. So I'm not going to go for that. But I think it's these decking boards that I'm going to go for. So I think they are €17 each. I'm just thinking though, they are 2.4. They're what? How big are they? 2,400 millimeters. So they're 240 centimeters. And I don't know, is that going to fit inside my car? Because they are slightly longer than the beds that I've got at the minute. Look how long that is. I think the ones that I've got at the minute are just about 200 centimetres long. I think I need 5 is what I've calculated. So we're just going to have to give it a go, I guess, and somehow manage to pop it onto my tiny little trolley. So I'm just going to prop you up and give it a go, I guess. That was a little success, so hopefully I don't knock anybody out on the way through when I'm perusing the shelves in a minute. So back in the car, I did manage to squeeze everything in. It did take me a little while just because my car is so small. So you can see obviously I'm squished in next to the wood, but like my handbrake and my gear stick is fine. I got some other bits as well in there. So I did go a little bit over budget. I went over budget by like €70 or so, but I did pick up a drill in the Black Friday sales, and I did pick up some more fat balls and a few little bits for my little Secret Santa. So the only thing left I need to get is probably a little box to put the bits into for the Secret Santa, and a little card that I can write a little message into. So we're going to head back home now. I am just back from the shop, and I have popped down all the wood that I got from Woody's, and I have just cleared this space here because I'm going to move my shed into this spot from over there to make room for the new bed to go in. So I've just decided to empty my water butt to move it around the corner to give me a little bit more space here to move the shed up. But I'm going to leave it there for today because the sun is going down and we're running out of light. So I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. So it is the next morning. I worked later into the evening. Well, it actually wasn't too late. I worked until about 5:30 in the evening yesterday, trying to get the bed all fixed up and supporting posts put in. And I did put it into place just down here along this side of the garden. But what I need to do is start kind of collapsing stuff over this side. And it's a great opportunity to obviously cut back all of this lettuce that has obviously started to bolt. And then what I'm going to do is actually transfer the soil from here into there and then top this up with some manure and some other compost, fresh compost that I have. So I'm probably going to make a little bit of a mess. It's a little bit cold today. I think it got down to like 2 degrees last night. The garden's actually fine, which is interesting because the car was actually completely frozen over. So no frost hit the garden, but it is obviously getting frosty. So I'd say we're not long off of getting our proper a proper ground freeze here. So I have that pretty much completely empty now. There is a small bit of soil left in, maybe 15 litres or so, that I'll pop into a spare bucket, but I'm pretty chuffed I was able to empty all of that because I'm going to move this bed completely and the little flower herb bed that's next to it. So I got really warm shoveling all that soil, so I took my coat off and I don't have any room left in this bed to top it with any of this farmyard manure, which is a shame, but I'm going to move this out of the way and I'm just going to go straight in with some broad beans. You guys know I love my broad beans. I had the most amazing crop of broad beans last year. They were probably one of my most successful crops and something that really surprised me. Like, it really is such an underrated crop. So that's also the reason I have included a packet of the exact variety that I grew last year, the same variety that I'm going to be planting now and growing next year, into my Secret Santa little box for my Secret Santa. So yeah, a little bit of like what I love and passing that on to somebody else, because they are so underrated and I absolutely love them. So I'm going to move this out of the way. That has been sitting in rain for like weeks now, so it's so heavy. And I'm just going to go in with 2 rows. I'm probably only going to do it halfway, have the same amount of broad beans as I did last year. I think I did 8 plants, but only 6 germinated last year. And yeah, I'm just going to go in with 2 rows in here. So the variety that I'm growing is called Bunyard's Exhibition, and I'm basically going to do 2 rows in here. Now you should probably give them a little bit more width, but I find if you do them in 2 rows together, they kind of hold each other up. And I'm just going to pop them in like that. You can plant them on their side, but this is what I'm going to do, 4 inches apart. These grow really, 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 really tall. So I will actually trim these. I didn't have any issues with, is it like black aphids or something? These come under a really heavy pest pressure, but I was kind of fine. And yeah, just like that. Just going to do half of this bed, so I'll have plenty, and they'll grow all the way up this wall, which I think will be so nice, and it will cover it up, which is so nice. Just going to do 2 more, and that's just under halfway. And there you have it. Cute little things. I have a few left, so if those don't germinate, I can grow a few more in the house and then transplant them out in the spring. So I might just do a backup crop inside. I cannot wait for these to burst out of the soil and grow the whole way up this wall. You know me, I love to grow things up these concrete walls. I think it just makes it feel like you're totally not in a city when it comes to spring and summer. So I think that'd be so nice. It'll offer a bit of protection, and I cannot wait to see how this turns out in spring next year. I may cover them with a cloche, because I know I mentioned earlier the temperatures are falling a little bit, so I do need a little bit of time for these to kind of germinate, probably get to about 6 or 7 inches before hard ground frost, and yeah, just keep them covered and see how they go. Now they might get a little bit of frost damage, which they did this year. They went a little bit black, but because they were big enough and the roots were established, they were perfect. I think we got down to -5 last year, so I'm going to cover those with one of my little cloches, and fingers crossed they grow lovely for me. So thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's gardening video. This is part 2 of the redesign. We have so much more to do. I think this is going to be like a 4 or 5 part series. We've still got the main growing space to actually tackle, and the reason I haven't started that yet is because I've changed my plans like 3 and 4 times. So I'm still like in 2 minds, like whether to put a shed in there or like some miniature polycube or whatever. So I'm not sure what I want there, because I want a bit of everything, brassica cage, everything. So it's a tiny space, and I'm trying to feel like what's the most optimal thing to do for that space. But stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and I will leave it there for today's video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care, bye.